Welcome back to another episode of What About That? My name is Jen, and with the help of my friend Adair, we will be going over Supergirl, episode 221, City of Lost Children. So sit back, relax, and ask yourself, what about that? Alright, let's get to the synopsis. When an alien attacks National City, Supergirl and the DEO learn the alien is a Florian, an otherwise peaceful race with telekinetic powers. Guardian gets a lead on the Florian's address, but instead of finding the culprit, he finds a very scared boy named Marcus. Guest star Lonnie Chavez. Marcus will only trust James, so it's up to the Guardian to stop the attacks on the city. Rhea plan escalates. Ben Bray directed the episode in the teleplay by Gabriel Lanes and Anna Muskie-Goldwyn.
Okay, guys, so I'm a stinker. We had recorded a good old hour of podcast for you guys, and I deleted it. Yeah. So
shit happens.
It's true. What about that?
Shit happens. You delete your podcast. Trump fires James Comey.
Shit happens.
Yes.
All right, so this episode, pretty much the themes that we were kind of talking about in the show were the title, City of Lost Kids. I mean, we have Guardian and Marcus and their drama, which is a literal child who's lost. And then we have, Lena and her emotional baggage with her mama, because that woman's doing a number on her. And then we have Mon-El, and his mama's doing a number on him. Everybody's just some type of lost child. So it was actually really cool that they had those themes kind of running in this show. Let's get to the characters who nobody give a crap about, really, in this episode. We have, well, not a crap, just less interesting. The boy, he was fine. Lonnie Chavez. I have never seen him in About Us, or what's the show called? I forgot. The one in NBC or whatever.
This Is Us.
Yes, This Is Us. That's what it's called, yes. And so I don't really know his acting. I don't know his thing, but he was fine. Good, kudos to him. The mom was good, except she had
wedgie wire.
harness issues.
You could see the wires, and you could see the wedgie. It was like a perfect line from the wire to the wedgie.
I mean, it just all around looked unpleasant.
I was thankful that the little boy didn't have too many speaking lines.
Truth.
I felt like he was a stronger character in his silence.
This is 100% a truth. We had Win. I liked Win. I thought he was sweet, even for the small things we saw. I wish that they weren't just chucking important backstory on him, in these last episodes, which I feel the whole episode was doing.
Right. This episode had a terrible
Yeah.
habit of...
Surprise! Here's some crucial backstory.
Here's some exposition about all the characters.
But we're going to give it to you 3 episodes before we're done. Bye! That's a little rough. I liked Alex. I thought she was
She gets
fine.
along with kids.
Yeah, Kylie Lee, she has a few kids, and I do believe her son's around the same age as...
She does good scenes with kids.
Lonnie, yeah.
She's one of those adults who have, the patience.
Yeah.
With children.
You
can tell it in her performance.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of John necessarily in this episode. Papa Space Daddy. He, for some reason, out of nowhere, has an attitude with Guardian, which, once again, the writers didn't set up anything the entire season for us to get that impression. So the fact that it popped up now, I was like, I don't get it. Sir, calm down. All of a sudden you want to do your job, but when we needed you to be in charge and do your job, other episodes, you were nowhere to be found.
Yeah, so he had a problem with the
weird.
Guardian's protocol. Why is, Guardian speaking with this child? He's a photographer / vigilante.
Yeah.
What's his credentials? What were the credentials in the last episode?
Exactly. It's just...
Why was Maggie running a DEO?
There's so much protocol only works when John needs it to work, which is kind of...
It's just very uneven with that guy.
That was a true story there.
Yeah. Anyways, I really especially love the close shot on the mustard and the ketchup, right, in the scene where the woman who's on the lines, the mother who with the purple eyes, she goes into the air and then shit starts to become fucked up.
Oh, they do a close-up.
They have a close-up of a ketchup bottle and a mustard bottle. And then you can see, like, the vendor in the background. And it says Mo Bacon.
Oh, wow.
And that's what, like, goes flying at Jimmy. And he, like, clears people. And then he clears the people out of the way and saves them as himself. But he gets sad because he can't stop the flying car that goes hurtling towards the building, and that's what Supergirl does. And she gets all the credit, and people really are receptive to her and not so much to the Guardian's character, which, if you think about it, the Guardian's vigilante alias is kind of scary as fuck, you know? Dude in a metal suit pops out in the middle of the night to kick your ass for buying weed. It's just so heavy.
Yeah, right? It's like, you can't buy weed anywhere nowadays.
I'd be scared shitless.
And I like how they're using Brian for, like, just random, like, good for that guy to be getting a recurring role.
They
but
must
like,
really like him.
Well, see, this is what I'm talking about, getting more aliens up there who aren't human-looking, you know, kind of comic relief. I'm down for Brian. He can stay.
He is great. I bet you he's...
You know who wasn't great? The woman being attacked in the beginning.
Oh, the extra in the very beginning. Wow,
she was, like, really bad. Like,
she had 2 lines.
Please, don't hurt me.
There it is. Let me shiver a little and then run away. I mean, and the Guardian's like, am I a monster?
Yeah, he's just really
he looks at his metal hands and his mask and he's like, am I a monster?
What have I done? Like, it was just a little...
Why am I Guardian?
Actually, it'd be like, why am I Guardian? Why am I Guardian?
You know, that seemed like that was a really big contentious point we had.
It was kind of ridiculous.
Episode was that when Jimmy is speaking with John, Jimmy admits that he doesn't understand why he is the Guardian, and we both felt that was like a really kind of like one of those things that should have been established earlier in the season.
Yeah.
You know, like, why are you doing what
he's
you're doing?
He's been putting people's lives in danger, his own, and he doesn't even know he's doing it. This is ridiculous.
It's just becoming yeah. So another point we thought was that this episode was really 2 episodes that should have been broken into 2 themes happening that should have been broken into 2 different episodes.
Yeah, we should have had the Jimmy, like an actual Jimmy episode.
Right.
And then we should have had the Lena and Rhea storyline, which was way more interesting. They pretty much made the Rhea and Lena dynamic so much better, and so it felt like we were watching the main storyline. But unfortunately, Jimmy's was the main storyline, but his felt like kind of the B plot. So that's kind of a testament to the writing and the acting. It's like nobody gave a crap what was going on with Jimmy.
The plots were a little bit like Jimmy should have been plot B, and Rhea and Lena should have been plot A.
And it still would have been because it wasn't even a Jimmy-centric episode, even though they said that. It just came off as we just want to see what Lena and Ray are up to because it's crazy. Few things about Lena. Love Lena. Fabulous as always. Mama issues not that they're out of nowhere, but the depth of her envy for Lex and her mama issues all of a sudden boiled so much more now than it should have, because once again, the writers have made Lena's personality where she almost gains strength from, being unloved. She almost gets, to thicker skin from being unloved. So all of a sudden, she's like this weepy little child around Ray. Right. You're like, girl,
she
what?
revels in the challenge of being other than a Luthor.
Yeah.
And you're right. She becomes very weepy. Right.
And all of a sudden, she's just like, my mommy doesn't love me, and I want to be a Luthor. Like, I don't know.
Kind of like reduces her into a box, And we talked about her always kind of like being kicked in the box in the same sort of way where she's always losing.
Yeah.
So far, we've seen her lose over and over again. All the people who influence her in her life, all her mentors have essentially betrayed her. And it's like a matter of time before... Kara does, and
they're trying to write that so heavy-handed so that
it's very heavy.
When she or they decide to make her evil or whatever, it's like, oh, because all this trauma, which still makes that a weak character. I think they've started from the beginning. The difference between Lex and Lena. Lex has a foundation of manipulation and being instinctually a bad person who tried to be good, but then always fell back on his instincts of being bad. Lena, on the other hand, is kind of being forced to be bad, but has the intense, inkling to be good, naturally. Her instinct is to be good, and then people are trying to put evil upon her, forced circumstances, things like that. So I think that's kind of also how Rhea, in a way, put it. It's like, you don't need to be Lex. He wanted power and corruption. You don't. Because even Rhea, who's clearly evil, sees that Lena is actually good, and
even
sees
Rhea
that.
Can see the good in Lena.
Yeah. Which I think kind of reminds Rhea of a young version of her before she got all hot messy.
Before she killed her husband. And cut her hair and wore high collars. Because after you do that, you cannot repent. Not in this show if you're a woman.
Not really. Oh. No, she got the power blazers, cut her hair.
Yeah, actually, once you start wearing a bun, you've crossed over into... There's so many buns on this show.
Or like beehives, like Brenda Strong. Not like beehives, but she's like
buns,
the high.
Like high buns. Yeah. It's just like...
It's a power move right there.
Power bun. If your hair's down, that means you're like...
Hashtag power bun.
You're a protagonist. If your hair's up, you're a villainous. There it is. And that's how we know. That's how we know Lena is like...
Well, Cara wears her hair in ponytails a lot.
No, I mean a bun.
Oh, you're talking like the buns, but yeah.
A twisted bun, yeah.
The one thing I really enjoyed about this episode, too, were the costumes, as far as, like, not all of them, just whoever does it really is very specific with certain things. They like to put Rhea in dark. Like, this time she had that dark dress charcoal. With, like, a little bit, charcoal with a little snow on there, kind of symbolizing her full evilness. And then Lena, because her character rides in the middle and the balance of everything, was in black and white and was still looking very innocent but still strong. So it just, I don't know, it played very much balance, which even after that wonderful monologue, Terry Hatcher
the scene where they're talking about balance
and not power. And
I actually wrote that note that I thought that was the best scene in the whole show, was the moment between Terry Hatcher and Lena when Lena's trying to get the machine to work and she doesn't know what's the matter, and Terry Hatcher, Rhea, Lois Lane, she basically, breaks it down to wanting this to work and using power versus using balance, and it really speaks to the nature of who Lena is. She's not someone who's going to make that, who's really after power even though she has it.
Exactly. And it's
like Lex never realized that he had power, and he sought for more of it. Whereas she realized that she did have power and she didn't want to continue down that path.
Exactly, which makes us love her.
Which is why we don't want her to be evil, because it's more compelling to see her work against her urges.
Exactly. And it's just like, what are you doing, writers? I don't understand.
This episode was tropey as fuck.
It was tropey as fuck.
It was like, I think like, because it was so tropey, I really looked at the performances, because most of the stuff, the themes that were coming out of this episode, mentor, student, to be or not to be evil, these themes were just so tropey. And sometimes when you're in a show like that, it's just the actor who has to like sell it,
Yeah. And Jim was saying that like she wasn't a big fan of Chris's selling his emotion
Mon-El.
in this Mon-El, because
I was going to say Monet.
I think a lot of it is because the writers didn't set up even Mon-El's thing, once again, still not writing for this character, where he sees his mom once, gets suspicious instantly, and then like all of a sudden tells Cara, "Oh, I'm missing my mom." But we haven't heard him talk about his mama once to get the inkling that he's at all missed her. Right. It would have been nice, because there was a weird cut in editing where the Guardian's, busting up the bag of weed, and then he goes to the kid's house. Exactly. And it was so quick. Like, he's in the alleyway, busting up the weed, boom, he's in the house. That was such a quick rush job on editing. There should have been a scene, maybe the first scene with Mon-El, maybe thinking of his mom, and then, like, thinking he sees her in a crowd somewhere. And it could have actually been him, but he, in his mind, thinks, "Oh, I was thinking about my mom, so I thought I saw her."
Establish his mind for set.
Exactly, his state of mind. And then when we actually see her at the restaurant, he can be like, "Oh, crap, I didn't make that up. I really did see her." That would have given more backstory because it's action, as opposed to just saying it, "Oh, I've missed my mom." And then when he goes to Cara, be like, "I'm mad that I love her," And I believe that sentiment. And there should have been a little bit more angst to, like, bring a gun to something. I don't know. It was lacking. I don't necessarily think it was the actor. I just think everything's setting up he was set up to fail.
I felt like it was rushed, that storyline of... I felt like all of the characters who were main characters on the show were in storyline plot B, and then you had Jimmy and this little boy in storyline plot A, and I felt like, once again, 2 different episodes happening at the same time, and because of that, you have a rush pacing in the more storyline with more information.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the build-up into the finale, and then you have slow pacing in the Jimmy little boy moment. I thought that this episode was going to end with him dead or taking the boy and adopting him and piecing out of the show. At this point, it seems that the writers have committed to his lifespan on the show.
I guess.
Temporarily, we'll see. But it also seems that, like, you know, you have to ask the question, why? Why is this episode happening three
episodes before the end?
The final. Because, does it serve the story? Or does it take away from the pacing of the story that actually needs to be told? Because does one character and their lack of story, and I'm going to redeem this character, take precedence over an entire cast and even the main character, Supergirl, on her own show? Again, it's just like when you have all 5, 6 main cast members in storyline B and you don't give that precedence, it's just very rushed. And I felt like it was rushed in the development of the relationship between Lena and Rhea, that it just happened so quickly. Lena going from suspecting Rhea to being a business partner to being a daughter to literally next episode maybe a daughter-in-law.
And then can we just talk about like the fact that Rhea, took Lena's phone and was just like on the phone, deleting numbers, like having a twirling mustache
Like she knows
monologue.
how to use a freaking iPhone if she's an alien.
Oh, I mean, I figure she's pretty smart to figure out. But my thing is, why does Lena not have a security password on her phone? That woman runs
password protected. Yeah.
Exactly. That woman runs a giant company. Anybody can get her technology if it's on her phone or files. So my question is, why is it like the easiest thing to get a hold of? I mean, to be fair, Kara called her, and we all know when someone calls, you can just answer. But, like, then she was able to delete the number? That's not a thing. Like,
right.
It's just a lot of bizarre...
And there was just an unevenness. You know, you have this, like, beautiful language from Rhea and Lena about the power and the balance. And then you have this, like...
mustache twirling.
You could talk about it. You love it.
Mustache twirling monologue, which I think is...
She's like, all you want, Kara, is power. It sounded great in the promo, but... actually on the show it sounded like
cheesy's all get out.
They were just pushing.
And then Kara, once again, in her own show, not really important.
Not important. My favorite part in that whole show was when she was Supergirl and she was like, turn the power down, and Lena's like, I don't know. Her hands through her
so
hair.
Flustered.
She's like, I don't know how it works.
Don't
Supergirl.
be mad at me.
Don't be mad. I'm sorry. I failed again.
Yeah, like just going through traumatic issues.
You know, and oh no, actually, that was my second favorite part. My first favorite part was when Kara's like, don't you hurt Lena. And then, what's her name? Terry Hatcher had a pretty cool comeback. It was Rhea.
It was like, I don't know, don't worry about her or something like that. I don't know.
It was
just like,
funny. It's just like, yeah, don't worry about her or something.
It's not about her. You know.
It's not about her.
It's like, I would have, the first question is,
like,
why do you want her phone?
She subject changed real good. And I was like, wait a second. Whirl around.
Yeah.
Don't you hurt Lena. And can I just say, this is the second time Lena's fallen unconscious in an episode. Like, shit hit her and she fell unconscious, or she hit something. And I just feel like, it's the second time, but I feel like I've seen this 1 million times on this show. And it doesn't even happen, but I bet you season 3 is going to be all about this damsel in distressedness that they
Lena
have.
is Supergirl's Lois Lane.
I don't mind that at all. I love that. I love it. But I also feel like they just have her knock out at the stupidest times. Like, it's so like, you didn't even hit your head. You're pretending. You just you heard she's Supergirl. You know? And it's like this time, like last episode, Lena literally took a kick to the box, you know?
Yeah, and exactly.
And then she threw another punch. And she took a punch to the face.
So I'm like...
And then this episode, some like metal shit falls on her and she's like out cold for a half hour. I'm like, this does not add up. The bun, you would think that would protect her. A little bit of the hairspray puts a helmet of a...
protection.
Yeah, but like she just like was out cold.
I really, in this episode, I enjoyed the beginning too. Their friendship banter. We like to see a nice friendship supercorp.
It was a ship within a ship.
It was.
I'm in a box of ship.
Right?
So Lena and Kara are shipping.
Justin and Brittany from the 90s, who,
Which is like, why? But whatever.
I know, I was like, I guess
as viewers, are shipping them. Exactly. I guess NSYNC's, is in National City too. Just weird. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's like bizarre, but it'd be like, I would have really loved it if they would have shipped Clark and Lex. Like,
oh my god,
National City, same network.
You know what I did like though, the as you said, the hug was way better than the last one.
Second hug was way better than. I think they just get better.
Well, it is what it is. So
yeah, it was a way nice hug. I felt it. I felt it through the screen. It was warm.
Yeah, there's this episode wasn't like on my hot list. It was like a solid B for me, I guess.
It was a B- for me to a C+.
Do you have any other thoughts that you're about this?
What about that?
I know. I'm like,
what about that?
What about that? Yes.
I'm so excited for the finale. I love the idea of a Daxamite invasion. Oh, this is a thought. I said it in the last podcast. I'm going to re-say it again because this is a really important thought to me. The idea that Rhea, I feel like with Rhea, it's very unclear what she wants. I talked to you about this twice already now. What does she want when we first see Rhea on the first time she's on screen? She wants her son back, and she wants to go home to Daxamite and her son to be king. So essentially what she wants is for her son to be king. But that, since we have first seen her, has evolved into so many different things. And when you're writing a character, you really, really have to have a primal, instinctive, clear want for your villain, because it makes everything else, that the response, much more stronger and succinct and a more compelling storytelling. And I feel that with this villainess, she's so stock villainous that her want changes from week to week. Mm-hmm. So, and when I ask the question, what does she want? Essentially, the answer is she wants power. She kind of even talks to Lena about that in that one lovely scene. And does she need her son to be king to have power? Or can Lena just get in her ship, because she's already rounded up...
Rhea.
Rhea, sorry. They look the same. Just kidding. They look like mother and daughter. Could Rhea get her all the refugees she spent the last 4 years finding in space scattered, because that's what she and her husband Kevin Sorbo were doing? Could she gather her people and lead her people? Couldn't she just be the queen of Daxamite, of the Daxamites? Why does she need Mon-El to do that for her?
Yeah. And
to me, Mon-El being the conduit of this conflict, being inserted into this conflict, I need my son back so he can be a king. What woman who's a power-ass, boss-ass bitch who drinks top-shelf bourbon and scotch wants their son to grow up to take their job as queen high bitch?
Well, something that I also, you're saying that kind of resonated with me. It's like, she said in this episode that, oh, you chose to be king and then the girl convinced you not to. No, you were stabbing his girlfriend with kryptonite Psy. And so he said, to protect her, I'll go with you. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound like he wanted to do that. So the idea where she's like, he chose to be king and you said no. No, he didn't. Not really by a free will. But this is talking to the woman who was going to imprison him for 2 years once he did decide to, surrender himself, until he got it. She wants to wake him up about what? Right. Like, she says it has nothing to do with anger, but everything she's doing has to do with revenge, anger, pettiness. Like, that's all.
And if she wants power at the core of it, does she need her son to have Daxamite? And if she seems to really want Daxamite, her people. To me, she seems to want for her people. That's what bringing all those ships through that portal meant to me. And I felt like forcing Mon-El to want what she wants is essentially what she wants. And
that might be it. Forcing him to do something.
But that doesn't feel like it. That does not make. That is like a degree away from an actual person. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I can want really great things for you, Adair, but when I bring it back to my person and what defines me as a person and as a character, there are the just the primal things. I need a shelter. I need a job. Those things that make me me. And because she doesn't have those things and she just has these third degree wants, I feel like it's just very
irrelevant.
It's not, the stakes aren't high enough.
No. Like, yeah, like Lillian, when she's like, I'm fighting for my family, she really is fighting for her family against aliens. So even though she's misguided, she has a strong, correct want to save them, but Rhea doesn't want to save really her people. Not really. She's more like,
I just understand a queen who would want to put her son, who has like no he doesn't seem to be very educated in the ruling business. Like, why would she want to put somebody else in charge?
Who's going to ruin the family or the business,
ruin
her people,
the kingdom? He's terrible at eating. He's just working on the egg poaching right now in life. But like, she's this woman who has years of service. I don't understand why she would put herself out of power to put him into power, because she wants him to want what she wants so bad. That doesn't make enough sense to me. Like,
it's just a silly concept.
It's a silly, silly concept. If I sat across from the writer of this, I would ask these questions. I might drive them insane on Twitter. We'll see. I'll be like, what does Rhea want? You tell me this, Mr. Blah, blah, blah. And we'll see what happens.
But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. We already did our promo, so we'll put that up as well, and you guys can hear our thoughts.
We want more Sanders.
I do want more Sanders, but that's just always a want of mine.
I think I missed Maggie in this episode sorely.
I missed a lot of things. Just, I don't know. It could have been 2 episodes. I wish they would stop cramming things into the last 3 episodes. And
I feel like it's a lesson learned. It's a hard lesson to learn.
I just hope they get better writing etiquette. Season 3. That's all.
Yes. We can hope in one hand.
We can hope and want. So, anyways, if you guys want to get a hold of us and chat with us, hit us up on Twitter.
What do you want for Season 3?
Exactly. Let us know.
What do you think Rhea wants?
Exactly. Let us know. What do you want? What does Rhea want?
Why do you think Jimmy's the Guardian?
Can you tell us what Wynn's backstory really is? Like, we have a lot of questions.
We have a lot of questions.
So, tell us what about that on our Twitter at whatabout_dat. It's, let's just talk about it, guys. Let's have this conversation, because
we want to talk to you.
There's so much good about the show, but there's so much bad about the show.
And even that is good,
Yeah.
There's good and the bad.
Yeah, there's good and bad, and I just want this to be as strong as Flash and Arrow and things like that, but I feel like if our voices aren't heard of what we like and what we're really about, not just fangirling over our ships, but really getting to the meat of the actual product that we're seeing, we're not going to get any change Season 3, So I say, we can have fun. We all do. We enjoy the show, like we said, but we want more, because we know there can be more, and it could be better. And it could be just like that badass show that we all saw Season 1. So anyways, with that said, this is our second podcast attempt.
It has actually so many different things on this podcast.
It actually was. You guys got a treat.
This was probably a little bit more shaken down.
Look, we got to get to the nitty gritty, because it is
the fart pebbles
late for us. So, yeah.
What about that?
What about that? Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Dream of Supergirl.